have a couple of amendments. Under consent, I think we're wanting to scratch D, E, and F. Is that correct, Ms. Messick?
Yes. Also, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that or ask that we add item G under discussion, reassignment forms and tuition cost, as that is coming up before our next meeting.
And also please add under action, personnel and coaching report approval. With that being said, I'll take a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. Good news, Mr. Rose. It's
All
happy
right.
time.
At this time, I'll ask Ms. Jessup to come up and help present for our National Board Certified Teachers.
Okay, let me see if this is on, folks.
Press and hold until you get a green light.
Okay.
On the bottom.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Melissa Jessup, and I'm the Executive Director of Human Resources and the Public Information Officer. It gives me great pleasure this evening to recognize some very important people who've just completed a very strenuous and challenging process called National Board Certification. So as I call your name, if you would come forward to receive a certificate that Doug has. Okay, Mr. Rose, you'll go over this way to my left. And then if you will all remain standing once you come up here, then we would like to get a picture with our Board of Education. First, I would like to recognize from King Elementary School, Amanda Brown. She is licensed in elementary education, holds a Bachelor of Arts degree and also a master's degree from UNCG or Greensboro in elementary education. She has been with Stokes County Schools since 2005. And to my knowledge, Mrs. Brown was unable to attend tonight due to family obligations and commitments. But let's do give her a round of applause. Next, from Southeastern Middle School, it gives me great pleasure to recognize Michael or Mike Capizani. Mr. Capizani is teaching at Southeastern Middle School. He earned his Bachelor of Arts in middle grades, language arts, and also academically gifted. He's also licensed in middle school social studies, and all of these degrees came from Wake Forest University. He has been with Stokes County Schools since 2002. Congratulations, Mr. Capizani. And Mr. Capizani, do you have some family members here tonight?
I don't. We thought it'd be better the baby didn't.
Okay, that's probably not to leave the baby alone. Okay. Next, I'd like to recognize from West Oaks High School, Sonia Langford. I know that there's a big game going on later tonight, so she may be at that game. She's here. There she is. Okay, come on, Mrs. Langford, you can come forward. She teaches in the business department at West Oaks High School and actually earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Business and Information Education from Salem College. She also holds a Master of Arts in Marketing Education from the International School of Information Management. Mrs. Langford has been with Stokes County Schools since 2002. Congratulations. Family support to achieve this process. I believe her husband is in the audience. Thank you for coming tonight. Also from West Oaks High School, I'd like to ask Christine Long to come forward if she is here. I think she is. Okay, Mrs. Long is certified in English 9 through 12 and earned her Bachelor of Arts in Secondary English from East Carolina University. She has been with Stokes County Schools since 2005, and I think she has family members here as well tonight. So thank you for supporting her. Next, I'd like to recognize Ashley McBride from South Stokes High School. Is Mrs. McBride here? Okay, we'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about Mrs. McBride. She is licensed in secondary math. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from Appalachian State University, and she has been with our school district since 2014. Congratulations, Mrs. McBride. Gives me pleasure now to bring up Carrie Simpkins, an exceptional children's teacher at Walnut Cove Elementary School. Mrs. Simpkins is licensed in several areas. She earned her Bachelor of Arts in Exceptional Children General Curriculum from UNC Greensboro. She also holds a Master's in Learning Disabilities from Salem College and went on later to earn her Master of Arts in Administration from Western Carolina University. Mrs. Simpkins has been with the district since 2003, so congratulations, and she has some of her family members. Her children are in the back of the room and our students, so we appreciate their support. Next is Laura Spainhauer. I know Mrs. Spainhauer was planning to be here tonight unless she was going to be involved in coaching a playoff game, which she is tonight for West Stokes. I'll go ahead and tell you about Mrs. Spainhauer. She is actually licensed in vocational business. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Business and Information Technical Education from Guilford College. She has been with Stokes County Schools since 1999. Congratulations, Mrs. Spainhauer. And last but not least, I would like for Jennifer Spargo, Guidance Counselor at South Stokes High School, to come up. Mrs. Spargo is licensed in counseling, obviously, and she also earned that from Sunny at Albany University in New York, and she went on later to earn her Master of Arts from Sage Graduate School, also in New York. And we were fortunate enough to get her here in Stokes County, and she's been with us since 2006. So, Mrs. Spargo, do you have some family members here?
Got Miss Cheek over there.
Okay, Mr. Cheeks over there. It's great to have that kind of support. So give them all a round of applause. And I think the board's going to come up and maybe make a picture with you, so congratulations.
It'll make me look even taller. Looking like a Jolly Rancher. Thank all of y'all for your hard work and dedication. Okay, Doug, moving on to EVOS growth for 18-19 school year.
All right, at this time, I have the pleasure of recognizing our teachers for outstanding growth as compared to other teachers within our district and around our state. So I will go ahead and get things started. When you come up, please receive a certificate from Ms. McGee, and then line up here at the stage, and we'll get a picture with the board as well following. First of all, Melanie Ross from London Elementary in the area of reading. Ashley Jones, Mount Olive Elementary, reading. Angela Swells, Mount Olive Elementary, reading. Kathy Wilson, Nancy Reynolds Elementary, reading. Danielle Weston, Pine Hall Elementary, reading. Rachel Duvall, Poplar Springs Elementary, reading. Kimberly Newsom, Poplar Springs Elementary, reading. Lori Zimmerman, Poplar Springs Elementary, reading. Michelle Falk, Sandy Ridge Elementary, reading. Donna Smith, Lawsonville Elementary, reading. Chelsea Noah, London Elementary, reading. Jordan Edmonds, Mount Olive Elementary, math. Carrie Coons, Nancy Reynolds Elementary, math and reading. Heather Hill, Sandy Ridge Elementary, reading. Laura Drab, Walnut Cove Elementary, math. Laura Williams, Walnut Cove Elementary, math and reading. Janet Fowler, King Elementary, math and reading. Jennifer Holt, King Elementary, math. Sherry Hester, Lawsonville Elementary, reading. Eric Marshall, London Elementary, reading. Jana Moore, Mount Olive Elementary, math. Mary Lynn Stone, Mount Olive Elementary, reading. Judy Dearborn, Nancy Reynolds Elementary, math. Donna Chun, Poplar Springs Elementary, math and reading. Jay Duncan, Poplar Springs Elementary, math. Shannon Rose, Poplar Springs Elementary, reading. Samantha Kendrick, Sandy Ridge Elementary, math. At this time, I'd like to ask our board members to come forward for a picture with these fine teachers. And family members, please feel free to come up and give pictures as well.
If we can group you all, put 8 on the top level, 8 here and 8 here, and then we'll put the board right in front of you.
Somebody my size. Quicker. Come on. Now come on. Working your friend, come on. That was great, that's kind of something. Come on, Ash.
Hey there, buddy. How are you?
Good, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to shift this front row out over just a little bit to even you out. Very good. Right, thank you. I'm going to do 3. So this is the first one. Regroup. Here's the second one. And one more. All right, let's see if this get what you needed. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all for everything you do.
Great work. Great work, y'all. Okay, moving on to public comments. The agenda for each regular monthly meeting will include a time period for citizens to address the Board of Education through public comment. Prior to each meeting, a form will be available for any individual or group to indicate a desire to address the Board of Education and the topic to be addressed.
A 3-minute time limit will apply to each speaker. Groups are to select one spokesperson to address the board on the group's behalf. Members of the Board of Education will not respond to individuals who address this board except to request clarification if needed. Only in cases of emergency will information received during the presentation be acted upon at the time of the presentation. Grievances, complaints, or concerns related to individual school personnel or students will not be heard in this forum. Other channels have been established for the consideration and disposition of a grievance, compliance, or concern that involves school personnel or students. The superintendent will discuss with and make available to any individual or group the policies and procedures for this purpose. At this time, Mr. Johnson, do we have somebody signed up?
We do, Dan Walker.
Hi, I'm Dan Wolver. I'm a retired career teacher from North Stokes High School. In the summer of 2018, working with the Lilies Project and the Stokes County Arts Council and Soul Ash Pictures, I had the privilege of co-producing a 30-minute documentary that's called Celebrating Courage. This is the story of John L. Harrison in the London High School community. Some of you may be aware of that story, and if you aren't, hopefully you'll find this documentary fill in some gaps. Anyhow, this inspirational video first screened at the 100th birthday celebration of the John L. Harrison legacy in the Walnut Cove community. This year, for Martin Luther King holiday and for Black History Month, we have shared Celebrating Courage with Stokes County middle and secondary school teachers with the assistance of Curriculum Director, Mr. Doug Rose. The John L. Harrison London High School story is a time capsule of the civil rights era and a testimony to the character of the London school community. For this reason, we have also developed an interdisciplinary curriculum guide loaded with teacher resources. Possibly, this tool will serve as an inspiration for other communities to consider similar projects and just overall the importance of our schools in our communities. So that being said, later this week I will make sure that our Lilies Project Director sends each school board member and superintendent and staff a link to the documentary itself, and it is like for educational use only, so we're sort of keeping it in-house in that way, as well as the curriculum guide and the Lilies Project resource page as well. So on behalf of the Lilies Project, the London school community, I feel you too will find this inspirational. I encourage your assistance in furthering its meaningful impact for next school year and for years to come. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that completes the public comments. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through C as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So moved. Discussion. First responder firefighter CDE presentation. And for a little background, this all started with a meeting between Dr. Rose, myself, Will Carter, and these wonderful firefighters as to how to better Stokes County, not just in the classroom, but in the communities. So this kind of ties it together. This is one of the potential projects should in talking to some of the commissioners, a potential funding stream could be generated by the quarter-cent sale tax to help. Guys, come on up and y'all show. I'm giving the history lesson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm Will Carter. For any of you that don't know, I'm the Economic Director for Stokes County. And as most people know, the volunteer fire departments in our whole state are losing members every year. And we've got to do something to try to turn that around. Forsyth County and some other counties in the state have started a high school firefighter academy. And I would like for y'all to consider doing that in our county so that eventually we don't wind up going to an all-paid staff in all our stations, which would be extremely expensive to the citizens. And we've given you a sheet of information, which Scott will go over right quick, our Fire Marshal Scott Aaron, and also Eddie Bottoms. I invited him here tonight. He actually put the program in place in Forsyth County, and I think they're in 2 or 3 schools now with it.
Gonna be in
And
3.
he can give you some information on that. So, if you want to look over the sheet we handed out to each of you.
Thank y'all for letting us come. Like I said, my name's Scott Aaron. I'm a fire marshal here in Stokes County. The North Carolina Office of State Fire Marshal and the Department of Public Instruction designed this career and technical education course for high school students to have a way to get into the fire service and learn about the skills and academic requirements of becoming a fireman. According to an article that was published by Spectrum News in 2019, the volunteer fire departments in North Carolina is losing 600 firefighters a year. Over a 3-year period, that's 1,800 firefighters that we are losing just because people don't want to do it anymore. In the past, a lot of departments were made up of your local business owners, farmers who could leave and run and go run emergency calls whenever needed. A lot of that's not possible now with people having to work, travel to work, balancing work and family time. And then with the state requirements of what it requires to become a fireman now, people just don't have time to volunteer. It's coming in as a volunteer. Just to become a certified firefighter in North Carolina is 517 hours minimum of training that they would have to require. And then each year, just to meet the minimum requirements of staying a fireman is 36 hours of training. And that's the minimum. And then if we add an EMT to their certification, that's another 190 hours of training plus continuing education that they have to attend. With the fire service and like it is, the National Volunteer Fire Council stated that 19,762 of nearly 30,000 fire departments in the country are entirely staffed by volunteers, saving an estimated $47 billion a year in our nation. It isn't economically feasible for a small rural county to completely change over to a career format for their fire departments. Stokes County citizens currently pay 8 cents of fire service district tax. That generates approximately $2.3 million to be divided up to operate 12 departments. And these 9 departments are located in Stokes County, with 3 being located in Surrey County. To staff 9 departments 24/7 with 4 firefighters in Stokes County that currently doesn't have paid staffing, you can see as we broke it down here in the bottom that it would cost $5.4 million on top of that $2.3 million that we're already paying just to have paid staffing in the fire departments if the volunteers went away. So that was one of our big reasons of trying to implement this and to get these students trained, these men and women coming in as firemen, and going ahead and having their training when they get out of school.
And yeah, part of the curriculum will give them an introduction, not just to firefighters, but also to law enforcement and paramedics, EMTs, so they can choose a career path. It's not just firefighters only. Gives them an introduction. I'd like to thank Eddie Bottoms for coming up tonight, and he can answer any questions you got. He'll give you a little
Can you
bit
just
of
give the
overview.
highlights, because it truly blew me away when.
Stop him in an
Okay.
hour. We'll
Yeah.
be ready.
Well, first off, let me just say thank you for allowing me to be here. My name is Eddie Bottoms. I do the Fire Academy program at Walkertown High School for the Winston-Forsyth County School System. But just a quick 30-second kind of background of who I am, how I got here. I've been a volunteer firefighter since 1986. I started at Mineral Springs Fire Department, which is right next to Walkertown, and we supply firefighters out of our school to them. 1989, I joined the Rural Hall Fire Department. As you know, Rural Hall has Stokes County citizens that we provide service to. So I'm a deputy chief now at the Rural Hall Fire Department. So I know what Stokes County and the fire departments are like, in this arena. Winston-Salem Fire Department, went to work in 1987, had a 30-year career, retired. Never saw myself being a school teacher. So this second career found me, this program that they had together. And when I got into it, knowing what we have, what we need, the volunteer fire service, trying to grow young people into the fire department, it's real easy. I've gone to many counties, Stokes, Surrey, Yadkin, Davie, I could go on and on and on. I've had calls from other states. They've taken all the thunder of what I would normally say, but usually if I get to come to an opportunity to speak like this, I'm going to walk in the room and I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Do you have a need for volunteer firefighters? And you can ask any chief in any department anywhere in your county, and the answer is yes. So the second question I'm going to ask you is, what are you doing to supply that need? And that's where a lot of us fall into problems as an administrator in a volunteer fire department, trying to figure out how to retain, how to grow our departments. That's the question that we all are trying to answer. And then so with that third one, we bring a solution of the fire academy programs. DPI and OSFM, the Department of Public Instruction, along with the Office of the State Fire Marshal. This is not a new program. There's 50, almost 60 fire programs across the state. There's 70 something or more public safety programs. Public safety is what we teach and lead into the fire department or lead into the fire academy. And it's a CTE program, and if you guys, I'm sure you're familiar with the completers and 4 classes in a pathway. We do public safety. We introduce them to careers, and that's everything from police, fire, law enforcement, courts, corrections. We want to, in emergency management, we want to entertain young people so that after school, they can find out a direction that they might want to go. But from that, we lead them into our fire academy program, Fire Tech 1, 2, and 3. They take firefighter training, firefighter 1 and 2 certification training, just like we teach in the fire department, just like it's taught in a traditional fire department. They get the same certification. We have an EMT program at our school at Walkertown. And what I've learned in the short, try to tone this down to one thing. What can I give you the most? What I have found as a teacher in the classroom is that I find we reach these young people while they're at school, before they get out and go in different directions and are not involved in the fire service. Right now, as I stand here, I looked up this afternoon, there's about almost 50 young people that have come through my program in the last 5 years who are actively volunteering in fire departments around Walkertown. I have 19 right now walking the hallways of Walkertown High School that are actively volunteering. If we can keep, we always talk about trying to keep half. Right now, the retention rate for what's coming out of our academy and staying in our fire departments, in the communities around us, is about 2 of 3. So we're right around that 66, 67% mark. And for us, that's outstanding. And so, when you look at what the cost of putting this program together versus the numbers that you just heard and trying to pay a department and raise taxes and all those things, I think this is a very economical advantage program to help to regrow the volunteer fire service in Stokes County, just like it is in all the counties around.
Quick question, startup cost.
Yes, sir. What's that?
Startup cost. I know you said a lot of things can get donated, can this, can that.
And I hate to dodge a number question because I don't have a dollar and cents question except to say to you, when I get these opportunities to come and speak, Dr. Bynum, obviously our CT director, and I know that Mr. Rose knows, and then Bruce Sherman, they can give you the numbers and put them together. But the thing that it takes is, and I think I can say this easily, knowing the fire chiefs of Stokes County, dollars and cents is relative to your support. To buy a set of turnout gear may be $3,000, but to have gear donated, I don't think that you have to have the most expensive program to have the most successful program.
After they finish I'll ask this and I'll let the ladies.
No, you're fine.
They're going to get the last word anyway.
Yes, sir.
I've been married long enough to know that. After they're finished, are they career ready?
The way it works in the OSFM standard to get your certification, there's about 22, 23 modules as you go down the line: orientation, safety, ladders, ventilation. All these courses that you have to take and pass, the practicals and the written test. The only one that we don't give through the school system, through DPI, is fire control. And what I find with my young people is I encourage them to, they immediately get some career-minded pass by volunteering in their fire department. You hear me talking about volunteering? Well, what happens is every year at the end of the summer or after the end of school when summer comes, I always tell them on the front end at the fall, we're going to go do a fire control class, which is 40 hours. It's the one class they need. We can do it at Site Tech or one of the departments. You have a facility to burn. They get their live burn in, right? But what these young people figure out is during the school year, I'm going to turn 18 years old, and I can take fire control on my own. They go get fire control way before I can ever give it to them. So when they finish their high school year and they're 18 years old, most of them that come into my program have their firefighter certification in their hand.
So they are employable.
They're employable when they graduate.
So we no longer have to send them to Carteret County and they have to spend
That's correct.
time at the beach. They might not like that.
Yes, but yes, that's correct.
Ms. Knight, do you have any?
Maybe just about funding for the teacher position. I mean, I know that we hope that if the 4% sales tax passes, then would that be for multiple teachers, like at different
Jake
high schools?
Oakley, our county manager who's here tonight, he said that if Mr. Rhodes or whoever, all of y'all will put a line item for this specific position, that he will try to budget $50,000 to pay an instructor to cover it.
And which high school would it be held at, or would it be at the early college, or?
Yeah, there's
Stuff we would
still
have to work
discussion
out.
on that. We're trying to figure out. At the 8th, I believe it was job fair, the fire marshal's office did surveys to the students and got back, how many?
We,
Was it 18 or 25 or?
we did a survey at one of the job fairs here, and we actually encouraged the kids to fill it out. We told them, whether you sign up, yes, I like it, or no, I don't, we're going to give you a free bag. So we got a lot of kids to sign up. We had a large number of kids that were interested. I wished I had the exact number. But we had a large number of kids that were interested, that were coming up. We had talked with Eddie, with the public safety, if it was taught at, the public safety doesn't have to really inquire a lot of, it's more classroom stuff, the public safety part. So, if we saw that there was going to be an influx of kids from one area versus the other one, or I know when we met, they were talking that they were already busing some kids from west to south, that it wouldn't, that would be a possibility of,
Or a
something.
possibility of an instructor traveling to all 3 schools, depending on how it worked out.
A little bit of research I've done, like, I'm more familiar with the Rockingham County one, is really good instructor is the key.
Right.
And keeping them. I've heard sometimes it's a little difficult with retention of a good instructor, so I've heard that's important. And then a question for Mr. Rose is, in turn, could it create competition or pull students' interest away from stuff like carpentry, masonry, automotive, in turn with another offering of this nature, Could it in turn have a unintended consequence of phasing out another offering of sorts?
I mean, it could if the students are showing interest in that area. I like the idea that it's a hands-on option for the kids.
Right.
But yeah, we're slightly overstaffed compared to what the CTE months of employment are and what we actually hold right now. My biggest concern, everything that we're talking about, is with the financial aspect of it. But, if that could be addressed, it is another great option for the kids.
Yes, I think
Scott
it's a
feels-
great opportunity and much needed, like y'all have shared.
Absolutely. Scott feels like we can get most of the equipment and stuff donated at no cost. And then with the county manager wanting to step in to help, everybody's on board because we're trying to get ahead of a serious problem down the road,
Yeah, thank y'all for coming. Thank you.
Vanessa, do you have any questions?
No, not really any questions, but I do think that this is a great opportunity for the students here in this county. And I hope that we can do it. And I think that it's great that we've got all these people that have come forward to say they'll do what they can to make it work. I did want to mention to Mr. Rose, will they be able to take the classes so that they would get up to everything maybe except that no fire control for 40 hours? Would they be able to take classes and have all of it? And
They would be able
through
to. We would look at starting, as was mentioned, with public safety, which is an introduction to multiple areas. Then you would look at firefighter 1 and firefighter 2, which at that point they would be considered a concentrator with the way the new pathway works. Then you have the option to do firefighter 3, which would be a career major path for them to follow through with.
So would they have to make up their mind as a freshman?
Well, I mean, you know, you could do the intro class. We allow that and have a lot of students who may not get to that level of being a concentrator, where they take an intro class and realize this maybe is not for me, and then they'll do another intro class. So if they took public safety and didn't care for that option, then they could explore other CTE classes.
But what my question was is if they take it the first one, then you said it's 4 classes, would they have to take it in their freshman year to see if they were interested, and then you firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and firefighter 3?
No, it wouldn't have to be a freshman course for the public safety. They could start that at any time.
How do you do that?
I was gonna say for us, I've kind of got it built out 2 ways. I encourage young people coming out of middle school to do their public safety in the 9th grade. However, they don't have to. I have public safety students that may be sophomores, and some could even be, you know, depending on other things that they needed. It could be their junior year, because if you just do the Fire Academy program and you do the public safety and the Fire Tech 1, 2, 3, you know, we're looking at 4 semesters. So, you know, depending on how you work in a school and you schedule, you know, you could literally do this your junior, senior year of high school. So it leaves them so many different avenues to you know, to get it completed. So I don't have just freshmen in my public safety class. But what has been working for us, we're fortunate in our school and in Forsyth County. Like I said, you know, we have it at Walkertown. We just started this year. They're in their first year. They had public safety in the fall with their first 2 Fire Academy classes at Glenn High School. We signed our paperwork with DPI back in the fall, and West Forsyth High School is coming on board. So we're getting ready to have our 3rd one, you know, in the county. Because, and I'll be honest with you, not because I'm here tonight, you know, when I go out this door, but I'm telling you that the push in Forsyth County is coming from the fire chiefs and you know, seeing the growth in their volunteer fire department. That's what's really pushing the buttons in the background is the growth of the volunteer fire service. And for me, I went into it not being a career tech ed teacher, thinking career, you know, and so the first time I got asked a question was, how many of your students went to work? And I came back, and that first year I had 1 student that went to Winston-Salem. And when I stood before a body like you and say, well, I had 1, you know, the numbers start going off to, hold on a minute, you know, we did all this for 1. But then I realized the value of this program is not just the person that goes to Winston, Greensboro, or High Point. The value of the program is the tax dollars that we're saving. So now when I stand in front of my board and they say, how many firefighters are we having employed? I've got 19 volunteer tax-paid firefighters working today, you know, right now as they walk through our hallways. And I understand the value of the volunteer firefighter in our county. And so, and I think that, you know, for Stokes County is what this program really, really brings. And so they could do it 4 semesters, 2 years, and then if you grow, you know, EMT is 2 semesters. So in 6 semesters, you can have firefighter EMTs completely ready to go. But, you know, that's the next level. That's down the road, seeing how it grows, how it goes, or whatever. But for us, it's been a very positive program. Did I answer your question?
Yes, and I hope that we can make this work. Thanks.
Thank y'all for coming. This seems like it's taken a while for y'all to be able to come speak to us tonight, but thank you for your persistence in this, because I think it's a very exciting opportunity for our county and for our students and for the firefighting community. I think that we would get a lot of interest from all of our high schools, our 3 traditional high schools. I've talked to many current and several former students who wish that could have been a program when they were coming through, and the interest in the students that we have now is great. So I think that this would be very successful here. I have been to workshops at the state level and heard about similar law enforcement academy programs at their schools and how successful that they are, and how they bring in students that were maybe homeschooled or other options, and in addition, it helps increase their graduation rate, because this is what could get a student to stay in school, is a program like this, that they would feel a part of and a reason to come to school each and every day. And I think that is very important as well. So I'm 100% behind this program, and I appreciate the county's help in going forward with this, and hopefully we can bring this for next school year.
Hope so.
All these people know, and I'll just extend this to the board. If there's anything that I can do personally, to help, we've met with Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rose, and some of you I haven't met, but I promise you, if there's anything, questions, pick up a phone, give me a call. But I would love to help see this grow in Stokes County.
Is there any difference in the practice of when they go to a fire, of what a volunteer does versus what a career firefighter does? Is there any difference of, well, a volunteer doesn't do this that a regular one would do? Is
No.
there any difference, or are they, in practice, it's the same?
I've said this many times for my career, both as a professional and as a volunteer. The home doesn't know where it is. The fire is the fire, and firefighting is firefighting, and firefighter certification is firefighter certification, and the job is the job. Now, how well we do the job depends upon the employees. It comes back to the training, and it comes back to the equipment that you have, and all those things that go with it. But no, you're training these young people in high school to be firefighters.
Well, to me, I'll finish. To me, it's a no-brainer. $50,000 to say $5.4 million. That's simple math, but the other simple math is when somebody in a rural area and their house is on fire, they need somebody there. And we have a pathway to get the young men and women involved in that. So Jake, we may have a line up. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You had me
for
back
having
then,
us.
so even if you did come with Will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jake, did you want to say anything?
I just want to let the board know that once this is placed in a request from the school board, that I will submit it to the county commissioners for their consideration. So, I'm looking at it like it is a big savings in tax rate on the fire side of it in the future, and also as school board member Chester mentioned, that it is benefit to the students and allowing them to further their education and keeping it in school while they're doing it because they're interested in something. So I'm just here support for the Will and the firefighters, and let you know that, hey, I'm in support of it, and I will push it through for the consideration of the board.
We thank you for spending your time here to help push the agenda. Staff survey update. Thank y'all. Have a safe trip home.
Board, since our last meeting where we provided you an overview of the two vendors that we presented to you for your consideration, I have updated that same summary document. You now have it, I think, from Pam tonight, a hard copy. I have highlighted in blue the areas that are different that you had not seen information about yet. Basically, under K-12 Insight, Guilford County Schools has also used them. The districts that we reached out to are happy with their experiences with this company. Also, if you will jump down to J in your summary information on this particular vendor, they do focus groups and workshops to help the school district understand different perspectives and increase confidence in emerging patterns from the data. Each conversation then is led by a trained, impartial facilitator. After the discussion, a report then is issued that looks at all of the data, combining it from several different measurement points, replacing it with some summary statistics for you. Again, protecting the anonymity of the participants in the particular survey. You'll jump on down to number 2 on the cost. Again, that annual subscription of $7,500 is the cost. It does also include, if you wanted to, that particular $7,500 again goes up to 5 license holders. If you wish to add additional users or license holders, it's $300 per user. Also in B, they do provide virtual training that's included in that $7,500 cost. You do, with that subscription, have unlimited surveys and usage. That can also include a lot of different types of stakeholder groups, not only employees, but parents, students, community members. And then if you wanted a more turnkey, where they are more heavily involved in the project with building the surveys with you, running the reports, putting all that data together, that cost jumps up to $16,000 on the annual subscription. On Qualtrics, if you'll look there, again in D, districts we reached out to are also happy with their experiences with this company. If you look down on F and about the real-time results that you get with the automated distribution, it automatically identifies for you the actions to take to improve the employee's experience with interactive dashboards that allow you to filter the information in real time by fields with the results. It allows the district to also establish different levels of access to the data based on classification, so you could determine who has access levels. It also tracks improvements and support with built-in action planning on employee engagement and or satisfaction. The surveys include onboarding, climate and or engagement, pulse surveys, ad hoc surveys, or stay or exit surveys in real time across an employee's entire life cycle. Jump down to I with me, talking a little bit further about the heat map agency overall view for you. You would have there, the users of that would be people with high level access, and it would review the engagement levels across the entire organization or Stokes County Schools, giving you the ability to display all departments and or locations, etc., in one place with a customizable color-coded display of problem and or strength areas. And then J, if you look at the engagement key drivers, which does run some correlation analysis indicating where we need to create action plans and in what order. This would allow the district to pinpoint specifically where you should maybe allocate resources first to address needs. And then finally, under your cost information in 4, that would, on the 9,500, also include training for the district, as well as user-focused groups that are online as well as face-to-face. And then Qualtrics also, since our last time of discussing this, they are offering a one-time, what's called an XM license. It's not limited to employees only, but it would allow you to run basically a community-facing survey at no additional charge, and it could perhaps extend your communication and the feedback you received in December at your town hall meetings to gather additional data on how we can better market our school district and keep students in our district. And then finally, in terms of a summary on both of these companies, they're both very reputable companies, and districts using them, as I said earlier, are satisfied with the cost as well as the output that they have gotten from these different companies. With your respect in terms of making that decision, it's probably going to be largely dependent upon your budget and then also the amount of staff involvement you want to choose to utilize with administering the surveys. With K-12 Insight, it would involve some staff or some individuals sending out reminder emails and working with the data and looking at the reports, but also you can bring someone in from K-12 to help you look at that as well.
Ms. Knight?
Like Ms. Jessup said, I would think budget would be the number one question. I do think it's great, to get feedback from our staff and
K-12 Insight and the, Qualtronics, is that what it is? It's Qualtronics or, it's Phil Brum and being anonymous, right?
They both have anonymity with their process, but with K-12 Insight, someone, either the staff members or someone of those up to 5 license holders would have to be more heavily involved in getting the survey out, plus getting the feedback and reminding people to do the survey. So it's not as much of a turnkey operation as Qualtrics is.
And Qualtrics is the one that would be, you wouldn't have to have someone in the system looking at the results, is that right?
That is correct.
But in K-12, someone from the system would be analyzing and looking at the results.
That's exactly right.
Y'all asked the questions that I was gonna ask, so, I appreciate you doing this and finding these two. And you did talk to other districts personally?
Yes, I did.
About this, okay. And districts comparable to our size,
McDowell County, also Chatham, and there was one other. Stanley and Warren. The others are more urban type districts like Charlotte Meck and Chapel Hill, Wake.
thank you for thoroughly looking into this, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Which one do you like?
My first choice to recommend to you would be Qualtrics, just because of the turnkey and the long-term data and things you can look at in terms of strategic planning, and giving you feedback that would probably also be help to you in building your budgets.
Ms. Moore, do we have $15,000 somewhere we could allocate?
This one is 9,500.
See, I'm just saying that
Okay.
it said at the top end 9,500 then. It comes down to money. One of y'all gotta have to say yay or nay. She's not gonna want to answer because she hates being put on the spot. I know.
Are you talking 9,500 or are we talking 15,000? 9,500?
Yes.
Okay, 9,500 then.
I think you'd be fine to do that.
I think it's between 7,500 and 9,500, is that right? 7,500.
One of them's on sale.
Yeah, but.
It's a bargain.
You know, what you want is for employees, and all the staff that's gonna fill this out, you want them to feel like that they can fill it out without someone looking over their shoulder, so to speak, and read what their answers are. And so, I think the extra money would be worth it, if you want people to actually fill out the surveys. I mean, that's not.
And is it annual or is it a longer term contractual agreement?
That would be annual 12 months subscription for the 9,500.
Would they prorate that to get it on a fiscal year, just so many months of this, and then a budget for the next year to get annual, from July 1 through June 30th?
They will work with us on the billing part of it. That was one difference between the two companies that I did not like as well. K-12 would start the subscription now and let it go until June 30, 2021. With Qualtrics starting out, it would just be whatever period you start. If it's in March, it would go until March of 2021.
Follow-up question. Would board members have any input into the questions that are developed?
Absolutely.
So we would have to set up a meeting to go over, to talk to executives.
Right, they would share with you templates that they already have, plus you would have lots of input into any changes or any other, just totally develop your own type survey. And I like that both they were in real-time data, you're not having to wait.
Implementation time, how long does it take to get implemented?
It would probably take 8 to 10 weeks, but they felt like they could maybe push it up to six weeks if they worked
On the end of your survey, we've got to act
relatively quickly.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate Ms. Jessup's review of this and her investigating it, and I know that her and Dr. Rice both met with both of these companies and talked to them, and the follow-up, and we've been talking about this for quite some time now. I would, and with Ms. Moore is confident that we could have a budget for this, I would like to move it to action.
Okay, motion, do I have a second?
I seconded for Qualtrics.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? That'll be action item B. Qualtrics bid. Summer reading enrichment camps, or some enrichment plans rather.
Is presented to you is the enrichment plans from each one of the elementary as well as middle schools. Basically, the same format is the same as it has been in the last couple of years. The schools were given direction to utilize the work days so that the staff is on hand, so that there's not an additional cost on the county to be able to offer this opportunity. It is only, I mean, it's offered. Parents can choose to not participate for their child if they're not proficient. The only difference between last year and this year is that this year reading is the one that will not be retested because of it being a new assessment. Math and science will still be offered.
Thank you. Any questions, Ms. Knight?
Is it broke down of the level per I-station, per grade, the requirements broken down there? You know, what range a student would need to be beyond, you know, before it was letter grades?
Each school utilize the EOG score. Is what they're using as the determining factor.
They're using what again?
Their EOG proficiency score.
Okay.
And most of them, when they asked me, I recommended 5 to 7 points off the actual proficient score to kind of set a standard. But what the state says is we have to offer it to everyone. So if a parent of a child who scored a level 1 wished to participate, then we are obligated to allow them to participate.
I mean, in the past, right, I'm thinking summer reading camp. Maybe that's
Summer
what I'm
reading camp
thinking
is a
about.
different
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm going, which level, which letter grade? Okay. I got you now. Thank you.
Ms. Massey, do you have anything?
The summer school program, it says, is this just a template or are those the real dates, June 4th or?
Those are the real dates. Again, our goal was to utilize the work days so that students,
That's good.
so that, you know, there's not the additional cost, but still have that opportunity to have staff on hand. Averaging 3 to 4 hours per subject if the student had to retest in both of them and chose to do so, so that we could still get it finished in time for teachers to be able to do their work if they needed to close out the year, plus be able to do this for our students.
Okay, so these are the testing dates.
Yes, that would be the remediation dates and then the retest opportunity dates. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Tedder?
I looked through all the school plans and found it quite interesting that they have different schedules for, but they know their schools, so what,
And many of them do. I mean, they, as Ms. Knight was mentioning, they probably use some of the I-Station, the I-Ready data that's coming out and kind of anticipating how many they think they'll have. And then it really, I mean, we won't know until the EOG data actually comes back how many they're talking about being offered. So yes, they're utilizing what they know about their population.
and then some were just targeting level 2 and some level 1 and 2, but you're saying that even those that are targeting just the level 2, if the level 1 parent says, I want.
That is correct. If they contact the school and ask them to allow their child to participate, then we would allow
And
that.
is that communicated to the parents that that is an option?
Yes, ma'am. There'll be a letter that goes home from the school notifying them of the program.
Do we ever have any parents say, oh, I wish I could, but I can't bring my child, transportation is an issue?
We have had that happen, and usually the schools work with the parents figuring out a way to get those children to the school.
Thank you, Mr. Sands. Summer reading camps?
And I would ask if possible, just because it's an April 1st due date, to get it in the minute, move it
Do
to
I
the
have a motion to move the summer enrichment plans to action?
I make a motion that we move the summer enrichment to action.
Second by Ms. Okay.
One more question before we put that there, then, I'm sorry. It had the elementary and the middle school plans in here, but the high school plans,
High school is just a junior and senior level summer school. I'm still talking about that with them, but
Okay.
this is credit recovery, which is a
Okay.
different kind of ballgame.
gotcha, thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? C.
So
Reading
now
camps?
I'm going to talk about summer reading camp right now. So all of this is our tentative plan, knowing that we do not have a budget from the state yet. This is our plan. We also will have to submit our plan to the state, and they have not yet sent us the template for what they're expecting us to send them. So I'm waiting on some feedback from them. But this year's summer reading camp, you have the goals of the goal for Read to Achieve program is to ensure that every student reads at or above grade level by the end of third grade and continues to progress in reading proficiency so that he or she can read, comprehend, integrate, and apply complex texts needed for secondary education and career success. The law requires that students demonstrate on-grade level reading proficiency by the end of third grade in order to be promoted to fourth grade. So, as Ms. Knight was alluding to earlier, this year the indicator is iStation for second and third grade. First and second grade, and that is the cutoff point. Some second grade teachers were asking me the other day, or principals were saying, if their other data is showing that they are making progress, and this is the only piece of data that says that they're not on grade level, do we have to send them? The answer to that is no. That is teacher judgment. You just want to make sure you have the whole reading child data for them. But you have the ISIP reading scores, skill scores there for second grade. The overall skill score is 233. The overall reading skill score that's first grade. For second grade, it's 246. For third grade, students have multiple pathways. You have a list of the multiple pathways in your packets there. North Carolina Read to Achieve for third grade, there is multiple pathways to proficiency. However, those students who do not have a pathway at the end of third grade, they will have the opportunity to go to summer reading camp and show proficiency there. They will also be able to take the Read to Achieve test at the end of summer reading camp. A few things that are a few talking points for us this year is that we must have 72 hours of reading instruction at our summer reading camps. In the past couple of years, we have been very close but not quite hitting that 72 hours. If you counted our lunch and recess time, we were way over that. But the state says, no, we cannot count that hour. Well, I can't bring kids to school in the summertime and not let them play. That's a long period of time not to let them have some downtime. So we are going to extend our day this year for that reason. And the other reason, we need to extend the day because the 4th is falling on a Saturday this year, and it's a weird time because some people will take their vacation before the week of the 4th of that Saturday, and some people will take vacation the week after. We thought we were in a lose-lose situation. We're going to have some people going before and some people going after. So to meet our requirements, we're going to lengthen our day, which lengthens our planning time, but we're going to do 3 weeks solid straight in a row. And it gives teachers and students the whole month of July as the break. So we're going to get our whole 3 weeks in before the 4th, that falls on that Saturday. And then we are going to have all of July and August for our teachers and our students. Well, not all of August, because we'll come back in August, but. I did survey staff that has participated in the past to make sure that this was something that they would be interested in doing, because we typically have taken the week of the 4th off. And what happens is when we take that week of the 4th off, we lose many of our students. They don't come back in July. So we thought maybe if we could have that consistent 3 weeks, maybe some of our students we wouldn't lose. We still will lose some because of that week. With half people taking that, some people may take that week of the 4th off. That's why I wanted to get these dates out here early so that people would have that awareness of the times that summer reading camp would go. Our locations will stay the same this year. We'll have Poplar Springs and Walnut Cove. Transportation is provided. The buses will run morning and afternoon routes. We're still anticipating around 8 school buses. We will not start our day until 8 a.m. and the reason being is because some of the routes can get a little bit long versus starting at 7:30 for some of the normal school days. So for students, the day will run from 8 to 3 o'clock. It will run again like camp style, like it has in the past, with stations and sections and things for them to go through. So it will not be just stay in a classroom environment. The day for the teachers will be 7:45 to 3:15. It's a 7.5-hour day with 50 minutes of planning time for them. Summer reading camp will be completed on July 2nd. The Read to Achieve test will be administered on July 2nd. We will make 3rd graders aware of that and parents as soon as possible for those who we know will be eligible and have that opportunity. Because students who do not attend the summer reading camp that are 3rd grade students can still come on that date and take the test if they so choose, if they have not made a pathway yet. Summer reading camp will focus on the 5 foundations of reading. We will have those stations that are specific to those reading principles. We will small group instruction like it has been in the past. Very small groups so that teachers can center on and focus on what the students need. We will use, many of the teachers that have applied in the past have come back to me and told me yes, they wanted to participate. I'm going to send out applications in March. I'm hoping with us doing them all before the month of July that we'll have more teachers that might be interested. So that they're not taking up their July as well. I feel like that's everything. Again, we will send out invitations to summer reading camp after the I-Station window is closed because that's what it hinges on for 1st and 2nd grade, which will be the month of May. Teachers do try to get that done as quickly as possible in May so that they can move on to other things that they want to accomplish and get done as May is wrapping up.
So this is something you're needing us to do?
You do not have to approve this.
Okay.
This is not something you guys have to approve. This is just something I wanted you guys to be made aware of in case you have any questions for me. I do have to submit it to approval to this. Yeah, I do have to submit it to approval for the state, but I have not heard from them yet when they want that submission. Yes, ma'am.
I know there's a lot of what ifs right now.
Yes, there is.
Everything, but typically what is past reading camp allotments look like? What was last year's?
So I knew you were going to ask me that question. Last year, I'm afraid to throw a number out there. Do you remember, Lynette? Yeah, I'm afraid to say off the top of my head. Can I get that number to you guys? Because I don't want to just throw a number out there. Can I get that number to you? Because I did have, like last year, I looked at when I presented this to you, and they had stated already let us know what our allotment was. The state has not let us know yet.
And I know it's more of a mandate that goes along with Read to Achieve.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it something every county has to, or you have to have a plan, or you have to do summer reading camp?
You have to have a plan submitted to the state, and you have to do summer reading camp.
It is legislated that we have to do this, but the state has not given us the budget number yet that says that they're going to pay to do it this year.
Correct.
what I'm getting at, and you all would probably agree, is if we were given this allotment, you know, earlier in the year in a sense, and had the extra reading specialists and
Yes.
the extra assistants and the extra people that could really pull out students' tutors and help ward this off sooner rather than later, you know.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's what breaks my heart.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The state, last year, they don't give us this allotment till April, and they didn't last year. I don't know when we're gonna get it this year. And it specifically has to be used for this summer reading camp. That's the way the allotment is set forth. But, and it is a requirement, so we will wait and see the next couple of steps. And I will keep you guys apprised of, our standings with the state.
And feedback so far on our station, what are you hearing from teachers? Are kind of liking it, or what?
So, there are
diagnostics of it or whatever.
Can I pick a spot and not? So,
Are you dodging that?
I'm dodging that question like crazy. So the negative side of it is that it's just so inconsistent with the information coming from the state, which makes it hard for the teachers to buy into something when the state keeps pulling both ways with the program. The positive side of it has really strong interventions that it comes with the program. So some of the teachers really like the interventions that are within the program. I think once we can settle as a state that yes, this is what we're going with, or no, this is not what we're going with, the teachers will feel more secure. It's an insecurity right now, not knowing the next steps. So it's hard to say, yes, I'm going to give my all and buy into this when the state hasn't made their final decisions. As of right now, we are only purchased through the month of March with iStation from our state.
That's concerning.
Yes, that's a whole other situation.
No, I'd just like to say thank you for all the hard work you do to set this up. It's really an incredible amount of work, and it's all the students.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
And this is one time we really do get to really focus on the students and their needs for a while, so it is nice. And it is fun, if you get an opportunity this summer to come to one of the summer reading camps, it is fun to watch it in action.
Well, you have to make it enticing for them to want to come.
Yes, absolutely.
We appreciate that.
On average, how many students per school?
So it varies. Last year, we had about 200 students, about 100 at each location. So it pulled about the same amount to each location from across our district. But it varies depending on grade levels. Sometimes it ebbs and flows within grade levels. I have the exact numbers from each school from last year that I can send you guys from who attended. It also depends on, sometimes teachers want to send students that may have already made that progress, and sometimes we have to say no because we have to cut off those limits. If they're on grade level, we have to focus on the ones who are still struggling. So.
And are they staffed with just teachers or teacher assistants?
It's just teachers. That's what the state will allow us.
Well, then who covers during the planning periods, or do they?
Because it's done in stations and rotations, you won't have them, and they're all very small groups, and so we did in cluster groups last year of 3s, and they went, like they have a science station that's centered within reading. They also have a computer library station, so that's how they get those 50 minutes of planning time.
Thank you.
Okay? All right.
Moving on, discussion policy 2210, duties of board, duties of officers.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have presented for your discussion and consideration a proposed revision to policy 2210. The revisions are highlighted. The purpose of this is to clarify that the use of the all-staff communication link is the province of the chairperson in that the chairperson of the board is the official spokesperson of the board. The use of the all-staff communication link is considered a communication to the public on behalf of the Board of Education. And unless the board has authorized another member of its body to utilize the all-staff communication link, it is to be used only by the chairperson as official spokesperson of the Board of Education. I'll be glad to respond to any questions you may have.
Ms. Knight, do you have any questions?
Are the items highlighted just additions to the policy as it was?
No, it's just, the addition to the policy as it was is,
Number
look at number 4, the second, beginning with the second sentence of number 4, communications. The remainder of that is different. I've just changed the formatting of the policy. The only part of it that is new is the second sentence of number 4 and the remainder of that item.
Okay, thank you for your work on that, Fred. I know it's, we've discussed it previously, and, implementing this just to safeguard the, views and opinions of other board members, going forward is a good thing, and I appreciate your time.
Ms. Mussey, you have anything?
I think that it looks good. We appreciate Mr. Johnson drawing this up and, fixing it, and, thank you.
Do we need to move this to action so it can sit for 30 days then?
I think it's already in the setting stage, it's just got to hatch at the next board meeting. So, Pam, go ahead. All right, tuition and enrollment, Ruth Beth.
Yes, board members, prior to the meeting, I passed out an inter-office memo at all y'all's seats. We had the bid opening February the 12th for the E-building at South Stokes, the roofing project there. We had 4 bidders, as you can see on the back, the 4 bidders we had. I would recommend we go with the low bidder of Allied Roofing. They've done several projects for us in the past. I don't anticipate the whole project going over $115,000 with the unit price number 1. And on the last page, it tells you what unit price 1 is for. We had $200,000 budgeted for this project. For the board's permission also, what I would like to do is look at taking this additional funding and working with this contractor and putting a roof on the concession stand for the football field. That's going to be one of 4 roof projects we're looking at in the next year's budget, just to see if that's something we could possibly do with this additional funding.
So about the press box.
Yes. The press box concession stand. I feel like we had one contractor look at it because it's a small roof, but where people stand up there during the games, you have to put basically wall-to-wall pads down. And the first, just an estimate we've got was just over $60,000 on that small roof. So I felt like this contractor, and part of that was mobilization. Since his contractor is already on site, we may get a better bang for our buck because he's already going to have the dumpster, the materials, the people mobilized. And just when I bring that bid back to the board for discussion and possible approval. But what I'd ask for tonight is approving the bid for just for E-building only to Allied Roofing, not to exceed $115,000 if we move that to action.
Do I have a motion to move it to action?
Make a motion to move it to action.
Seconded by?
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you, board members.
Now D, South Stokes. All right, tuition and enrollment forms. You're fine, I think Dr. Taylor
That's correct. We're ready to move forward with forms and process.
Right, our reassignment starts March 1 for August 2020 school year. So we're looking forward to getting those out, start the process, because it'll end June 1. The discussion that we had on that was keeping it tuition free for out of county.
And what did you say the uptick in numbers were over the previous year?
And it's increased since I did these numbers for you, probably, I would think by about 5 or 6 that we picked up mid-year enrollments. But we had just shy of 50 new ones for this school year.
I know earlier we saw an uptick of 149 in what was presented to us before.
Well, our total for out of county that we did was 194. I pulled up the sheet that I had in the meeting a couple weeks ago.
It was 194. What was it last year, do you know?
145,
So we're up 50,
close to 50, correct.
maybe 55 now.
Yeah, the numbers have gone up because I feel like it's a family of 4.
Okay. So we're up 55 by removing tuition. Now the 149 that was giving me $300,000, but I still love you anyway. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Is that anything we need to do action, or are we just saying it's okay to do that?
Yeah, I put it on discussion just so that we'd have an update to make sure we're good to go for March 1st.
Sounds good. Do we need to do that?
I think it's already done. Yeah, we moved it last time.
We had consensus last time to go
Okay,
ahead.
that's fine. And recommendation is to keep the tuition, free and the enrollment form as is and start March 1.
All right, thank you. That's nice. Do you have any questions?
Sounds
You
good.
Messick?
Well, I'm glad that we moved to that tuition free for a while to increase our student enrollment. So I think that it's working.
Yes, we need to highlight that on our new website that we introduced this past week. I think it was this past week. That looks fantastic, by the way. Thank you so much. So yes, we need to have a free tuition banner going across our website there. Very, very nice. Thank you for your hard work on that.
One thing I gotta say is that I was able to collect the math, Lynette, tricky here. At $7,500, the 55 extra students per Dr. Taylor, that's a good budget number, 7,500. That's $412,500 hole that we didn't have to fill with taxpayer monies locally. So that's a lot of teaching positions. I'll shut up now, Ms. Moore, so you don't get that. All right, moving on to action, personnel and coaching reports.
I move that we approve the coaching and personnel reports.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of saying aye? Aye. So moved. Item B, Qualtrics bid for the Qualtrics approval of their bid for $9,500.
I make a motion that we accept the Qualtrics bid.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Enrichment plans.
I'll make a motion to approve the enrichment plans.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. And South Stokes roofing project, per Mr. Goins to accept the lowest bidder of Allied at $112, keeping in mind there may be an additional roofing project to be named later that he will advise us of.
I make a motion that we accept the Allied bid for South Stokes roofing. Is it E-building?
Yes, ma'am.
E-building.
I second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Announcements.
Couple items to please keep in mind. February 24th, 25th, and 26th. Those are our elementary battles of the book. North District will be held at Piney Grove on the 24th at 9:30 a.m. South District will be held at Southeastern Stokes Middle School on the 25th at 9:30 a.m. And the West District will be held at Chestnut Grove Middle School at 9:30 a.m. on the 26th. Middle school battle of the books will be the 28th at Nancy Reynolds at 9:30. And on March the 3rd, we will have the District Elementary School battle of the books at Nancy Reynolds at 9:30. Also keep in mind, March the 5th, we will be having the P-TECH Signature Schools Awards Breakfast on the campus of UNCG, Greensboro, from 9 to 11. March the 13th, we will be having pre-K screenings at Willow Oak Baptist Church and Stokes Family YMCA from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. And then we have a couple of dates there in April. April the 18th, Little Folks Festival at Walnut Cove Elementary from 10 until 2. And on April 24th is the Stokes County Special Olympics, scheduled for South Stokes High School, and has a rain day there potentially.
One other calendar item that did not make it into your packets that came out a little bit later today, and Ms. Messick, if you would like to elaborate on this, you certainly can. But please mark your calendars for Wednesday, March 4th at 10:30 a.m. at South Stokes High School for a memorial brick that's going to be placed for a student that passed away, Matthew Lilly. He was on his way to the Little Folks Festival to help assist Little Folks, wasn't
Volunteer.
He was going to volunteer with ROTC for the Little Folks Festival. He passed away in a car accident that morning on the way. And so the Partnership for Children, under the leadership of Ms. Messick, spearheading that, has got a brick to go in at one of the pavers there in front of the school. And they're going to have a ceremony there March 4th at 10:30 a.m. if your schedule allows.
10:30.
Thank you, Ms. Messick, for that.
We have some fundraising requests that you see. One item I would like to highlight, we had asked for some additional information as everything's not been printed up yet, but Piney Grove, the community there at Piney Grove, surrounding Piney Grove Middle School, they're going to be having a community day on March the 7th. They're going to be celebrating their 20th anniversary, if I think that's correct. They're going to be having various vendors, food, there'll be live music there around, kind of set up around the football field that day, so if you would like to attend.
They're going to dig up a time capsule, I believe, and as soon as they send us that information brochure, we'll email that out to you.
Where was that located?
They're on the campus of Piney Grove Middle School. And you see the other requests for fundraising there in your packet.
Okay, next board meeting, March 2nd, work session, 8:30 with March 16th, our regular session. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded by?
Second.
Thank you, Frank. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. And we're good. Thank y'all for coming out.